Hello team, today on Spirit on Wheels, I'm not gonna be on wheels, I'm gonna be on a salad. I'm cooking cabbage for my wife and some quinoa for lunchtime. But I just want to make my second video on the channel. And what's happening today in the world? Many people are searching for the spirit and for spirituality, for a meaning in life. And depending on where they are in their development, spiritual development, soul development, because it depends where our soul and spirit are in this incarnation, what we want to achieve. Let's say some people need to achieve humility, some people need to achieve wisdom, truth, goodness, how to be able to give that to other people. By the way, this is a cabbage that I've grown in my vegetable garden, and I'm gonna cut it for my darling. And it's not always that everybody needs to achieve the same. Some people need actually to become materialists and to understand the physical world and how to get hold of it, which would mean, etc., being a gardener, how to work with plants, with animals, how to make income from that and being able to give to the family that this person wants to grow, if it's a mother or a father. So actually how we go about of understanding the physical realm, it's the spirit can work in very different ways. Let's say if you work with wood, if you're a carpenter, that's how we understand wood and the physical material representation of the etheric world, because the etheric world is actually the plant world where it has life. Every life form is an etheric form, and therefore the minerals and stones, rocks, they don't have an etheric body here on the earth. They have an etheric body somewhere else. They actually have an astral body. They don't really have an etheric body. And then we have the plant world, which is next. They have etheric bodies, which are within the plant. Let's say like this tomato. Here, outside of the tomato, it's the etheric body of the tomato. And it's because it has life, the life form. Then we have the animals. Some animals have longer etheric bodies than others, let's say the elephant and the horse. And then humans, we have etheric bodies which are like this much beyond our physical body. But if the person has a developed spirit or a more forward-going spirit, the etheric body expands and expands. And usually that's how we feel around people who give us good energy, and they feel very warm and good, and we can see the love in their eyes. We can just feel, this is actually, we feel the etheric body expanding from them and giving life, because the etheric body is the life body and the love body. That's why we feel so good around these people. And so this carpenter, who is actually trying to understand the physical world through wood and through transforming live wood into a form that we can use in our daily life. So how do we integrate this etheric realm of the wood into our daily life? Putting it, making a bed or a chair, or even it could be a painting, the outline of a painting, or something that is just going to be in our daily life, daily rhythm, that's made from wood. So these people actually have a big life lesson. That's why they do it for 10, 15, 20 years. They develop better techniques into working out of the wood, into making more beautiful carpentry. Every time they embed themselves into the wood, because they're concentrated, they are trying to give their art into their work. So actually people who work in this way, they're always artistically integrated with the process of spiritual development. And the person doesn't necessarily need to understand what he's doing. Its spirit and soul is guiding him towards that path so he can extrapolate truths about wood. I'm going to give you this example. Here I have, this is walnut wood. So when a person is working with walnut, it can feel the grain of the wood, and they're harder. And if you work with lime, they have softer wood. So he understands the essence of every type of tree by the way it works. It answers back when you work with the wood, and that's also a spiritual realization, because every wood has a relationship with the planet in the solar system. So if we have the walnut, which is related to Saturn, you can feel the hardness of Saturn and the stiffness and the will that you have to put to work with it. And when you work with let's say fig tree, they're very soft. They're related to the moon, the softness. So they are working with spiritual thoughts, even though they don't necessarily can explain them, but they feel. And that's how the soul takes that knowledge and practical understanding. And when we go to sleep, it goes into the spiritual world. It extracts the practical the practice that we did and makes it into knowledge. Even if he cannot understand the knowledge, oh yeah, it's related to Saturn or into the moon, the soul takes what it needs, because the astral body in the spiritual world works in images, not necessarily into explainable intellectual thought processes. And if we continue from here, even this person who works with wood, he's going to start carving curved lines, circles, straight lines, angular lines, and then he enters into the realm of the male and female energy of the universe. And usually the curved ones are the female, the round ones are the female, and the straight angular ones are the male ones. And when this person, carpenter, starts mixing those, he enters into the realm of the middle, which is the Christ. If we take the biblical terminology, we can take other terminology as well, but for the sake of the conversation, I'm going to take the biblical ones here. The Father is the male part. I'm taking the Father, the Christ, and the Holy Spirit, the triangle. And taking the Father, he is the male part of this alchemical language that they use. When we take the Christ, he is the middle. He is between the male and the female. And the Holy Spirit, the spirit that works in nature, that's the female energy. And that's why usually we have the Father as being the authority, the Holy Spirit as the nature energy that gives life forms to trees, to animals, to water, and etc. And then we have the Christ, who is trying to be the middle ground of these. And that's how the Christ enters the heart and into the mythology of the heart, because the heart is the middle realm. The Father is in the head, because being the head, the guiding realm. Then we have the stomach and the will forces here, the stomach and the hands and the feet with the walking into the world, because nature works, and where we work is the digestion. We work off something that we gain from outside, the food. And the middle being the heart and the breathing system, the lungs. That's how we balance the nervous system and the metabolic system through the heart, through the breathing rhythm. And that's why in yoga practices it's very important to breathe in a certain sequence. Many spiritual practices and philosophical practices speak about breathing rhythm, because through the breathing we are able to gain somewhat of a control on the heart, to slow our pulse down, to slow our nervous system. So from the lungs to the heart to the mind of the nervous system and the brain. So if we actually want to gain hand on our nerves, on our stress, we need to hold ground on our breathing, then to our heart, then to the nervous system. And that's when the nervous system is calmed down, it's gonna relax the stomach and the digestion. So it's a process, even if you want to gain spiritual clarity, to think about the Christ. Through the Christ you get to the Father, and from the Father now you can work with the Holy Spirit in the world. And this is a very, very wide topic that one can engage here, how one works with the Holy Spirit in the world thanks to entering the door of the Christ and gaining the wisdom of God. And nowadays many people are doing that intuitively, or not many people are aware that they're going through that process. Many people in psychology that help and heal other people, healers, meditative practices. And for me, that's where the charm is in spiritual science, that one can understand a path. It's called, everybody wants to be clairvoyant or to see from the spiritual movements. But actually nowadays there is a possibility for people gaining clearance in their vision through clear wisdom. So when one knows about certain processes from his understanding, then he can develop this clear vision thanks to the wisdom, but the true wisdom of life and the spirit, how it relates to the physical realm, and not the one that we just think and assume. Let's say when I was much younger, I was thinking that the fig tree has a relationship to Mars because I had an intuition, or I had a vision, or I heard someone saying that and I thought of it as true, and then I tried to put that in my mind as a pattern. But that's not a true observation. I need to understand what is Saturn, what is Mars, what is the fig tree. So when I understand Mars, it's very fiery, very strong, it's the god of war, and etc. and etc. And when I see the fig, and it has this soft fruit, soft wood, it's white, it smells milky, there is no relationship between those two. So actually we are trying to understand the characteristics of a being, because the fig tree is a being. It has its own soul. It's up in the spiritual world. It's not here. And when I understand the characteristics of every being, Mars is a being. There's many spiritual beings that live on Mars, which in Christian mythology, they have their own name. They're called the spirits of movement. That's why Mars, it's within the muscles. And when we start thinking in these characteristics, so for everything, for glass, for wood, for plastic, everything has a being. And when we understand the characteristics of these beings, we can relate between them. Why this and this has a relationship? Let's say I'm gonna bring the plant world again. Why does pea like to be next to wheat? What's their relationship? Why did they help each other into the root system? That's how we can also relate why this person who has very high energy always sticks with people who are a bit round, because they have excess of energy, and he can point them on how to use that energy. That's why there is many interrelationship in psychology, in chemistry, in biology, in medicine, and education, that there's just relationship between colors. Red likes to be next to green and not next to yellow when we paint. So there's these relationships that one can use in his daily life that I really want to speak more and more and more, and that I work within my consultation when someone needs guidance or just needs to speak his mind off, and etc. So this is for me. I made the salad to my wife. I'm gonna cook the quinoa now, and I'll see you in the next video of Spirit on Wheels.